Welcome to the Retirement Guy Podcast with Gary Alden from the Kingwood Investment Group. In this podcast, we educate people in or near retirement so they can make informed decisions and bridge the confidence gap. Learn how to mitigate risk in retirement so you don't run out of money before you run out of you. Join Gary Alden and explore strategies on how to live a stress-free retirement.
Hello and welcome to the Retirement Guy with Gary Alden from Kingwood Investment Group. Today we are doing part 2 of a 2-part series entitled Social Security Planning, and Gary's going to share a ton of great information for us. So if you're not driving, please be ready to take notes. If you're driving, just reach out to Gary and call him directly for all your answers. Good morning, Gary. How are you?
We are just fine, Mr. Eric.
All right. Sounds good. Are you getting ready for the holidays?
Yes, we are. And yourself?
Me too. Getting ready. I'm excited. Going to take a drive, go see a lot of family and have a good time. That's what it's all about. So I hear you have a trivia question for today. You want to start with that?
Yes, I do.
All right. Hit me.
Here's the question. What is illegal to do in a Japanese restaurant? What is it illegal to do in a Japanese restaurant?
Well, an easy answer would be smoking. It's probably illegal to smoke in most Japanese restaurants now, but that's not what you're looking for. So what is it legal to do?
Illegal to do.
Oh, I'm sorry. What is it illegal to do? Yes. There's lots of things legal to do. Eat, no. Illegal to do. Yeah, I'm going to have to wait till the end.
You'll have to stay tuned to the end of the recording today.
Yeah, I'm just going to say smoking. I know it's wrong, but yes, I want to hear it at the end of this podcast. All right, Social Security planning. Let's dive in. Where do we start today with this part 2?
Well, number 1 is, when should I apply for benefits? That's a huge, huge question. Mm-hmm. And Eric, I'll tell you and everybody else listening, that is not an easy answer. I would sit down with your financial advisor, presuming they understand Social Security and know it really well. Some advisors do, some advisors don't. So you do not make an emotional decision, that you make a decision based on dollars and cents and looking at your particular financial situation. I've had people sit down and tell me, well, I'm going to take it at age 62 before they run out of money. Social Security is not going to run out of money.
Yeah.
The government can print money. You and I can't. Or if you and I do print money, they put us in an orange jumpsuit.
That's illegal in a Japanese restaurant.
There you go. Hey, good one. I like that. But there's several things everybody should consider when you apply for Social Security. Number 1 is health status. Maybe you need to retire because of your health. So you have to take Social Security maybe at 62. You don't really want to, because the longer you delay, in fact, every single month you delay Social Security, you get a bigger check than the previous month. So sometimes somebody does. I've had clients, they've had to take Social Security at 62, even though we planned to take it at, say, 66 or 67. They've had to take it early because they just had to quit work because of their health considerations. You also need to look at life expectancy. In my office, my longest tenured team player, Miss Rachel, her great-grandmother is 108 years old.
She's still kicking.
Still kicking. Just had her birthday in November.
That's awesome.
So she's 108 years old. But I'll guarantee you, when you ask, her name is Ruby, when you ask Ruby when she was 48 or 58 or 68 or 78, maybe even 88, hey, Ruby, you going to live to 108? She would have probably laughed her head off. I'm not going to live to 108. You don't know how long you're going to live. I don't know how long you're going to live. Nobody knows. But you'll never get in trouble thinking long-term. Plan for a long life expectancy. Take that into consideration when you apply for Social Security. Again, maybe you need to take Social Security. Maybe you want to retire at 62. Maybe you just have to take Social Security because you have to have it for income. Maybe you haven't saved enough, or maybe you just want more money in retirement. But take a look at income. And also you need to consider, are you going to work in retirement, say part-time? That's a consideration. Yeah. And then also you need to look at survivor needs. The longer I delay taking Social Security, the bigger check I'm going to get. But that also means if I pass away, my wife gets to keep the bigger of the 2 Social Security checks, either hers or mine. So let's presume mine is bigger than my wife's. I pass away, she's going to get a bigger check. So that's one reason in my particular situation, I'm waiting till age 70, which is the maximum age or the maximum check you can get.
Mm-hmm.
That way, I am protecting Linda. If something should happen to me, she gets the big Social Security check.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure Linda really appreciates that.
There you go. I'm trying to look after my spouse. And also, this could be something we talk about on another recording, but also how Social Security is taxed. The bigger Social Security check I get, it actually helps me reduce taxes on the backside.
Really?
That's a subject for another day.
Oh, I'd love to talk about that because I've never heard that. That's pretty
But
neat.
it is. I can show you using software.
All right.
So why delay to get a bigger check? Let's just say I decide to take my Social Security check at 62, and let's say I am taking it early. Let's say my full retirement age is 66, but I decided to take it at 62.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of getting, say, 2,600 at age 66, I'm going to get 75% of that number at age 62. So you take a 25% haircut by taking it early.
Yeah.
Conversely, every year I wait past 66, my full retirement age, I get an 8% increase.
Wow. That's a huge increase.
Yeah, think about it. How many times at work did you get an 8% pay increase every year? Probably not too often. Maybe never.
Yeah.
Again, when to apply for Social Security, if you apply early, your benefit starts lower and it stays lower for life. Also, the cost of living adjustments get magnified because they're now being added to a smaller number. And again, the longer you live, the more beneficial it is to delay your benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And your decision also impacts survivor benefits as well. Delaying benefits will give your surviving spouse more income in most cases, presuming you make more money than your spouse.
Got it.
So how can you maximize benefits? One way, obviously, we've already talked about is delay it, but you should also check your earnings record. Is it accurate? Are there any missing years? Can you improve it by working longer? I am a test case for this. In 2010, my Social Security statement shows me earning no income.
Wow.
And I had income in 2010. And I've been fighting Social Security for years, along with the help from my congressman, who's right across the hall here in my office building, trying to get that corrected. In 2010 was many, many years ago, and sometimes fighting Social Security to get credit can be difficult. So if you do see a missing year, you should go on socialsecurity.gov, print off your statement every single year, make sure you got credit for earnings, and was it accurate? Because sometimes Social Security, especially if you change jobs, may have incorrect earnings record. And remember, Social Security is based on your highest 35 years of income. So I really want to get credit for 2010 because I made a lot more in 2010 than back when I was 18 or 19 years old.
Very true.
So I want to get credit for my 35 highest years, and 2010 will be one of those, and that'll increase my benefit. So apply for Social Security at the optimal time. You need to consider what your income needs, both now and in the future, how long you think you're going to live, and again, how long you think your wife is going to live. There's a thing called annual earnings test. This is the test that they use to look at if you are taking Social Security before your full retirement age. And again, full retirement age is based on the year you were born. So for some people, full retirement age is 65, other people 66, other people 67, or someplace in between. Now, if you do take Social Security before age 66, if that's your full retirement age, every $1 in benefits will be withheld for every $2 you earn above a minimum number. In 2018, that number is $17,040. So in 2018, as long as I don't have a job making more than $17,040, I get to keep all my Social Security check. But for every $2 I earn over that number, they're going to withhold $1 in benefits from my Social Security check. So if you make a lot more than $17,000, $40,000 or $50,000, it would totally wipe out your Social Security benefit. So be careful when you are applying before your full retirement age on what your earnings are going to be. Now, your benefit, even though they take away that money, and I still don't understand this, but even though they take away that money before full retirement age, when you do retire, they start giving the money back to you. Okay. Only Social Security or the government could do something like that. We're going to take away the money, and then once you reach your full retirement age, they start giving it back to you.
How do they give it back to you, Gary?
They give it back to you slowly. They increase your monthly payment. They don't give you a big lump sum. They give it back to you on the installment plan.
So let me just clarify here, so I understand this. So your full retirement age is 66 in this example. You start taking it at 62, so you have 4 years where you are getting your Social Security, but you make too much money, right? So you, like in your example, you said you make $50,000 a year, and since that's definitely over $17,040, they're going to withhold that money. And I'm assuming, like you said, they're going to do it in an installment plan. They're not going to give you that money over just 4 years like they took it from you, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is there any type of calculation to find out how long it's going to take them to give you your money back that they took from you?
I've never seen one, but I'll find out.
Yeah, I just think that's interesting, and of course it's the government, so we don't know. But yeah, okay. So that's a good point. Thank you for indulging my question too.
Again, remember, Social Security and the government and common sense are terms that are not necessarily to be used in the same sentence.
Yeah, I'm learning that from you very quickly.
There you go. Now, Social Security can be taxable. When Social Security was first passed back in the 1930s by FDR, Social Security income was not taxed. But then several years went by, Social Security started having financial problems. So Congress went to the president at the time and said, hey, we're running out of money. We need to potentially tax Social Security up to 50%. And it was unanimously passed by Congress. And the president signing the bill was Ronald Reagan. And for a change, we got Congress on both sides of the fence, Democrats and Republicans, to agree we needed to fix Social Security. Was passed by President Reagan. Now, again, depending on your Social Security check and other sources of income, Social Security can be taxed, but not necessarily will be taxed up to 50%. That's when you sit down with your financial advisor and look at your particular tax situation. Mm-hmm. Now, several years went by, Social Security still underfunded. Congress had to go to the president and say, hey, we're running short of money again. This time, barely passed the House of Representatives, went to the U.S. Senate. There was a 50-50 tie, so the vice president of the United States had to break the tie, and Al Gore broke the tie, signed into law by President Clinton. So now Social Security benefits can be taxed up to 85%.
Wow.
So we have both Republicans and Democrats are guilty of now potentially taxing our Social Security benefits. So both sides of the aisle are guilty. So what are some of the ways to minimize taxes on your Social Security benefit? You could reduce other income with tax advantage investments such as Roth IRA income. Does not affect your Social Security benefit. Okay. But municipal bonds are tax-free, but they are used in the calculation to determine whether your Social Security is taxable or not. Some people don't understand that. They understand municipal bonds are normally tax-free income, but they could count against you when computing whether Social Security is taxable or not.
So Roth does not count against, but these municipal bonds do.
Yes, and they're both tax-free, so one counts against you, one does not.
Are there any other sources of income that, off the top of your head, that don't count against your Social Security besides the Roth?
Well, depending on how much you take, because I've run my own calculation, I'll give you an example. When Gary and Linda, Alden, let's say we both wait till age 70 to take Social Security, which is our plan.
All right.
Social Security will pay Gary and Linda Alden about $75,000 a year.
Okay.
Let's say I need $100,000 a year to live off of. If I go out to mutual funds that I own that are not in an IRA account, just mutual funds in an investment account, and let's say I start withdrawing, say, $25,000 a year out of those mutual funds, which are long-term capital gains because I bought them years and years ago. So that $25,000 in long-term capital gains plus $75,000 in Social Security, under current tax law, I would pay zero tax.
Oh, wow.
No tax on $100,000. Where I could have my next door neighbor also getting $100,000 a year, but they're probably going to be paying taxes depending on where they're taking the money from. Because if you're taking money out of your IRA and you're required to take, minimum distributions age 70 and a half, probably going to pay some taxes.
Got it. Yeah, absolutely. So it's really, really individualized. I mean, that's kind of the theme of this entire podcast for this scenario for Social Security. So not to derail the podcast by any means. I know we have more to cover, but anybody who's listening to this that's thinking, okay, what do I do? How do I get $100,000 a year without paying taxes? Like Gary said, call Gary, because obviously your situation is going to be very unique to you. The time you take it, like Gary's covered already, is going to be very unique to you. Please reach out, and he'll answer those questions, because this has brought a lot of questions to my mind, and I'm going to pepper him with those questions to try to get those answers for you. But it's just best to reach out to his office to get him in person. Sorry, Gary, I didn't want to derail it, but I've got to get that message out there, because this is pretty complex.
Oh, it is. That's why sit down with us. We know Social Security really well. Sit down with your financial advisor, but make sure they understand both Social Security and taxation on Social Security, which is two separate animals.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to go into this in depth today, but when I went down and applied for Social Security, but I wanted to suspend my benefits, key word in that is I went to Social Security and I said, I want to file for Social Security, but I want to suspend my check. That's a strategy that you used to be able to do. So Linda could get a what's called a spousal Social Security check. We went to Social Security. Social Security messed it up. They sent me a check. Went back to Social Security. They told me I had it fixed. They sent me a check. So third time was the charm. Finally went down to Social Security. By the way, every time that was about 3 hours out of my life.
Of course.
Finally worked with a good Social Security guy, and they said, okay, we're not going to send you money. I had to fight not to get Social Security to send me money.
It sounds like a trip to the DMV, except for they never send you money.
There you go. So when you go to Social Security, please understand they're nice people in Social Security, but they have a mantra that their job is to try to give you money. And anytime you do anything that deviates from them sending you money, it throws them all off. They really don't understand some of the strategies you can use to maximize Social Security benefits. So when you do go to Social Security, there's do's and don'ts that Social Security personnel can and cannot do. They can estimate your individual benefit, and they can tell you the amount you're entitled to get right now. What they cannot do by federal law, they cannot project future benefits through any kind of scenario planning, and they cannot help you with innovative strategies designed to maximize benefits, such as what I did. Again, I went to Social Security. I said, I want to file and suspend. And then my wife wanted to file and restrict, and they totally screwed up both those events.
Oh, my.
Because they're out of the ordinary, even though they're both allowed by federal law, nothing unusual about it. But again, they messed it up. So work with your financial advisor, make sure you get your T's crossed and your I's dotted. When it comes to Social Security, pretty important benefit. Remember, it's guaranteed. Well, it's inflation adjusted. It's tax preferred, and it's lifetime income. Those 4 bullet points, you can't find anything else on the planet in the United States that's going to meet all 4 of those criteria: guaranteed, inflation adjusted, tax favored, lifetime income. And that's Social Security. You don't have any other investment that is that strong.
And let's be very, very honest and very, very clear and transparent, if we want to call it that. The fact is that these Social Security, the people that work at Social Security are used to people coming in that need that income. And I would say the vast majority of people that are contacting them need the income because they don't have adequate planning to be able to delay or be able to, like you said, Linda's restricting your, what was the term that you used for yours?
File and suspend.
Suspend. That's right. File and suspend. So it's probably very out of the ordinary because they don't get a lot of people that have planned the way that you have, Gary, and that a lot of your clients have. So that's a very, very good point. And like you said, they're very nice people. Don't be upset with them when we throw a wrench in their works a little bit, something out of the ordinary. They're just trying to help. But boy, that planning is so important. So I appreciate all the information. Do we have anything else to cover today in this podcast specifically?
Yeah, a couple of things, and
All right.
we're about to wrap it up. First question is Social Security going to be enough to live on in retirement? Unless you're, very frugal and you never leave your house and you never want to watch TV, probably not.
Yeah. Yep.
But you've got to consider Social Security in the context. Are you going to be getting a pension? Do you have IRA money? Do you have 401k plan money? What are going to be your required minimum distributions at age 7.5, where you're required to take money out of your IRA, 401k plan, 403b? And also your investments. How much money do you have saved in your stocks and bonds, say an investment portfolio? And again, do you plan to maybe work part-time in retirement? So big questions, and we're here to help. When should you apply for Social Security? We can help you with that. What if I want to keep working? We can take a look at that. What if I've already applied? How much will my benefit be? How can I coordinate spousal benefits? What's the best long-term strategy for my situation? What do I do next? There's a whole bunch of good questions, and we're here to help. And Social Security is darn too important for guesswork. Please sit down with us or another good financial advisor and let us help protect your nest egg and maximize your income in retirement.
Absolutely. And if you're listening to this podcast and you are of the age, or you're very, very close to the age where you can draw Social Security, but you are still thinking, you know what, I still actually want to work, whether full-time or part-time, what does that look like? Like Gary's covered in this podcast, there's a lot of decisions to be made just in that. What are your tax liabilities? What are your liabilities when it comes to when you take it early or take it a little bit later or even later than that? Supplementing with your other income. If you can delay it, like Gary said, delay it as long as possible. There's a lot that needs to be figured out. It's kind of like a puzzle. And so contact Gary or contact your advisor and help them put those pieces in place so you get that clear picture of what your best plan is just for you. I think that's incredibly important. Gary, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I'm besides the fact that it's illegal in a Japanese restaurant for Social Security workers to provide you a forecast, I think that's illegal in there too. What's the true answer?
The true answer is, in a Japanese restaurant, it is illegal to tip.
Really?
Yes, it is illegal to tip. And not only is it illegal to tip, it is considered an insult by your waiter in Japan if you do give them a tip.
Wow. I did not know that. I've never been to Japan, so now I know when I go.
My daughter, when she was 15, she was a foreign exchange student to Japan, so she knows a lot about Japanese customs. So
that's neat.
It's a neat country. Go there. So I've never been there. I want to go to Tokyo one of these days.
Oh yeah, I've seen pictures. I know the Japanese countryside is gorgeous. The cities are really beautiful. I'm really interested in going at some point in my life. So that's on my bucket list, Gary.
Yep, sounds good to me too.
All right. Thank you again for your time. I appreciate it. And thank you all for listening to the Retirement Guy podcast with Gary Alden. If you have not subscribed to the podcast yet, please click the subscribe now button below. This way, when Gary comes out with a new podcast, it'll show up directly on your listening device. This makes it much easier to share these podcasts with your friends and family. And again, I encourage you to, if you have friends or you have family, your parents maybe, that are approaching this age, if you're listening to this podcast, or your neighbors are approaching this age and you have a really good relationship, share it with them so they can get these hints and tips and really set themselves up well in their retirement. Again, thanks for listening. For everyone at Kingwood Investment Group, this is Eric Johnson reminding you to live your best day every day. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Retirement Guy podcast. Click the subscription button below to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Kingwood Investment Group. The content has been made available for information and education purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions that you may have regarding your investment planning. Kingwood Investment Group is independent of Next Financial Group, Inc. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Next Financial Group, Inc., member FINRA/SIPC.